Hello students. As you all know, we have studied about some of the measurable properties of gases. If you remember, we studied about the measurable properties of like mass, volume, temperature, density, and even about rate of diffusion. After that, we started with gas laws in the previous lecture. When we talk about gas laws, we studied that some of the variable factors and some of the constant factors will be responsible for giving you some new laws. So we studied about the very first law, that was Boyle's law. When I say Boyle's law, we studied that Boyle's law is what? At constant temperature, and if we talk about the number of moles to be constant, we get as pressure is inversely proportional to volume. So as we have already studied about what we say Boyle's law, the second law that we are going to study now is called as Charles law. So you can see when we talk about Charles law, we are going to take which two factors variable and which two factors are going to be constant. When we talk about Charles law, in that we are going to take volume and temperature to be variable, and pressure and number of moles are going to be constant. Over here, when we say Charles law, you can see I have taken a picture of a vessel. You can just imagine कि एक cylinder है, there's a cylinder containing gas molecules, and you have a piston about that. When I say piston, it's a movable piston, frictionless piston. When you apply some force, it can go up or down. So what I did is, in this cylinder, I had some gas molecules and I started heating it. It's like, imagine when you are sitting in a classroom, all the students are sitting very silently. But what happened is actually fire took place. There's a fire, or I can say explosion happening beside your building. So what will happen? You all will start running away. Same way, when the molecules were inside the cylinder, when I heated up, all the molecules started running away. As you in heat, the kinetic energy of the molecules will increase and they'll start moving away from each other. When they start moving away from each other, they started applying pressure. And because of that, you can see, to minimize that pressure, what happens is the piston goes up, it expands. And from this, you can see, to keep the pressure constant, like when the molecules are hitting the walls of the container, they're going to increase the pressure. But what do we want is, we want the pressure to be constant. So to keep the pressure constant, what happens is the piston expands. And as the piston expands, what you can see is the volume. If I talk about the volume in the first cylinder and volume in the second cylinder, what happens is, as you increase the temperature, the volume of the cylinder increases. So from this, if I say, if this was volume V1, this is volume V2, you can see the volume has increased. So if we talk about the statement that we get from Charles law is, volume is directly proportional to temperature, keeping what constant? You can see pressure is constant and the number of molecules. The number of molecules will not increase, that will remain same. So pressure and number of molecules are constant. So the statement for Charles law is, we say at constant pressure, the volume of a given mass of gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature. It's directly proportional to absolute temperature. So this is the statement that we need to learn. From this, if you have to write the equation, that is V is directly proportional to T, which I can even write as V is equal to K into T. So you can see, if I rearrange it, what I get is V upon T is equal to K. In this way, if I say I had changed the temperature from T1 to T2, similarly my volume will change from V1 to V2. And similarly, we can write the Charles law in this way also. That is, V1 upon T1 is equals to V2 upon T2. V1 and V2 are the volumes at corresponding temperatures T1 and T2. So if you get a question for Charles law for 2 marks, 1 mark will go for the statement and 1 mark will go for the, what I can say, the explanation of the statement. So what you have to do is, you have to write down this Charles law statement as well as the explanation. Now we have one more statement for Charles law, which is called as the alternate form of the Charles law. Now, to understand that, you can see I have taken a cube. Just imagine it's a cube, like a Rubik's cube, but this cube is made up of 273 cubes. So if I say this cube, which is made up of 273 cubes, has a volume, or that is V. If I assume that it has a volume of V, which is made up of total 273 cubes, and if I take one small cube out of it, what will be the volume of that one small cube? You can simply imagine that if 273 cubes have a volume of V, what will be the volume of one cube? So you can see we can simply go by unitary method. So what do you think the answer will be? It will be, if I take this as x is equal to what? V into 1 upon 273. Means I can simply say it's V upon 273. So you can see over here, what is the volume of one cube? We say the volume of that one small cube will be V upon 273, or you can write it as V into 1 upon 273. Now, what does Charles' law state? It says that for every change of 1 degree Celsius, means if the temperature increases by 1 degree or the temperature decreases by 1 degree, volume will change by that one small cube. Volume will change by that one small cube. Means what's the volume of that one small cube? It is V into 1 by 273. So we say for every change of 1 degree Celsius, the volume changes by 1 upon 273 of the total volume. So over here, if we say that the temperature changes from 0 degree Celsius to 1 degree Celsius, you can see there's a change that is by 1 degree. For every change, that is for every change of 1 degree, क्या लिखा था हमने, क्या पढ़ा हमने पीछे? It was volume will increase by 1 upon 273 into V. So you can see, if I say V0, what is V0? V0 is the volume at 0 degree Celsius. V1 is the volume at 1 degree Celsius. So from this, you all know, if I talk about a new volume will be what? We say new volume is equal to original volume plus the change, or I can simply say increase in volume, because 0 to 1 the temperature is increasing, but every time the temperature won't increase, it can even be decreased. So I'm just writing it as change in volume. So as you can see, what is V0? Yes, what is V0? V0 is my original volume. And what is my new volume? It is V1, because the temperature has increased. So I can say new volume is V1 and original volume was V0. What is the change in volume? You know, for every degree Celsius, for every 1 degree Celsius rise, the volume will increase by V into 1 upon 273. So you can see it is 1 upon 273 into V. Now, V was what? Original volume. So here my original volume is V0. I'm taking it V0. Now, if you see these two terms, V0 plus V0 upon 273, in this, both of them, they have V0 as common. Now, if V0 is common, what will I get? I'll get V0 separated, correct? And in the bracket, I'll be having is 1 plus 1 upon 273. Is this correct? So from this, if I have to write down, how will I write? So you can see, we'll just write down V1 is equals to V0, as they have mentioned over here. V1 is equals to V0, 1 upon 273 into V0. And if I want, I can just take it as common also. Now, 1 degree Celsius to 2 degrees Celsius means over here, V1 will be my volume at 1 degree. V2 will be my volume at 2 degree. So V2 is equal to what? V1 plus the change. Change was how much? It was 1 upon 273 into V1, because you can see 1 to 2, the difference is only 1. Similarly, if I say 0 degree to 2 degrees Celsius, you can see the new volume will be V2. The original volume will be V0. And what will be the change in volume? Will it be 1 upon 273 into V0? No. You can see 0 to 2 degrees Celsius, the change in volume will be depending on 2 degree rise. For every degree rise, it was 1 upon 273. So for the increase, for the change in temperature is 2 degrees Celsius, you can see instead of 1, we are going to write as 2. Similarly, one more, 0 degrees Celsius to 5 degrees Celsius. We have as V5 is equal to V0 plus 5 upon 273 into V0. And if I go for a general term, like the temperature can be anything, any rise can be there, any decrease can be there. So what we are going to write is 0 to T degrees Celsius. T can be any temperature. So you know my original volume will be V0. My new volume will be Vt. And therefore, Vt is equal to V0 plus, it will be what? 1 upon 273 into V0. You can see 0 to T, the difference is T degree. So we'll write instead of 1, T over here. I hope this is clear. Now, moving ahead, you can see, as I said, V0 and V0, both of them are common. So I can write Vt is equals to V0. From the first thing, as you can see, I have already taken V0. What will be left? Only 1. Yes. And from this term, as you can see, from this term, I have taken this V0. So what is left? Only this much. So what is left behind? You can see 1 plus T upon 273. Now, if I cross multiply this, what I get is Vt is equal to V0 273 plus T degrees Celsius upon 273. Now, if you remember, when we studied measurable properties, I told you all when about measurable properties, if I have to convert the temperature from degree Celsius to Kelvin, what I need to do is I'll be adding 273. If you remember that formula, you can see if you have to find the new temperature in Kelvin, you're going to take the temperature in degree Celsius and added by 273. It's up to you. You can take 273.15 because 0.15 we just ignore it. So temperature, if I take my temperature to be 0 degree, you can say I have written as T0 is equal to 273. So from this, what I can do is, you can see 273. This is 273. Instead of 273, I can write as T0. And you can see 273 plus T degree. 273 plus T degree, I can write T in this place. So if I do that, what I get is, you can see Vt is equals to V0. I'll get T upon T0. And if you rearrange it, what you get is Vt upon T is equals to V0 upon T0. Means I can say Vt is the volume at temperature T. V0 is the volume at temperature 0. So from this, I can simply say it's like V1 upon T1 is equals to V2 upon T2. So you can see they both end up giving you the same equation. And from this, we can say that V, volume of a gas, is directly proportional to temperature. Keeping what constant? Keeping pressure and number of moles constant. So you can have any of the two derivations. They can ask you, please explain in detail Charles law. So you have to go for the second method. So first, what you can do is you can write down the first first statement and explanation. And second, what we can do is you can write down the statement from here. For every change of 1 degree Celsius, volume changes by 1 upon 273 of the total volume. And then you can write down this derivation, which we have done. No need to go up to 5, like 0 to 2 degrees Celsius gives you a proper idea. And then this is your final derivation which you need to write. So this will explain you Charles law in a detailed manner. Moving ahead to the graphical representation of Charles law. You can see both the two statements I have summarized. First is pressure remaining constant. The volume of a gas is directly proportional to absolute temperature. Second, at constant pressure, volume of a given mass of gas increases or decreases. You can see if the temperature rises, the volume will increase. If the temperature decreases, the volume will decrease. Therefore, they have mentioned volume of a given mass of gas increases or decreases by 1 upon 273 of its volume at 0 degrees Celsius for every degree rise or fall in temperature. Moving to the next, that is graphical representation of Charles law. You know, in case of Charles law, we have volume and temperature directly proportional. So when I plot the graph of volume and temperature directly proportional, you can see if volume increases, the temperature will also increase. So you can say, if I say when my temperature is high, volume is also high. The point that I get from this is over here. If I say my temperature has decreased, so volume will also decrease. So you can see I'll get a points like this. When you plot the graph, what you think is you'll get a straight line. But you can see, I want to extrapolate it to the origin. You can see my origin is what I have written down as 0 Kelvin, and therefore I can say my graph is a straight line. But what happens is when you are plotting a graph, and if you see in your textbook, it is not mentioned 0 Kelvin over here. They have mentioned 0 degree Celsius. So if I say 0 degree Celsius, I have to extrapolate this graph to the back. Means my graph will be over here. So you can see when I'm plotting, this line will be over here. My graph will go till here, and I can say this point over here, I can write this is minus 273 degrees Celsius. And this minus 273 degrees Celsius will be your 0 Kelvin. So your graph touches 0 Kelvin. So according to the textbook, if you go, you have to go, it will be a straight line, but it will be going into the second quadrant. This is something that you need to make a note of it. So this was about graphical representation of charge. So you just need to remember V is directly proportional to T, and therefore what you get is a straight line. Okay. You can see as we talk about constant pressure, you remember when we were talking about Boyle's law, I said it is constant temperature, because constant temperature is constant, we call it isotherm. Because constant pressure, pressure is mostly measured using bar. It's the very common unit of pressure is bar, and therefore I can say it's isobaric or isobaric, whatever you want to pronounce. As the graph was plotted at a specific pressure, if I have reduced the pressure and I have checked what about the change in volume and temperature, you can see I'll get a graph like this, and at high pressure I'll getting like this. Next, moving ahead to numericals and some of the MCQs on Charles' law. Very first, you can see at constant pressure, 2 moles of oxygen gas at 298 Kelvin occupies 49 dm cube of volume. What will be the volume of same amount of oxygen at constant pressure and at 400 Kelvin? So सबसे पहले जो आपको दिया we'll write it down. Given we have over here V1, that is 49 dm cube. What will the volume of same amount of oxygen at constant pressure? You can see same amount means N is constant. Constant pressure, P is constant. So you can see when you're solving numericals all together, you need to see which thing is constant to identify which law to be used. You can see V1 is 49 dm cube, temperature is 298 Kelvin, T1. We have T2, which is 400 Kelvin, and V2. So we need to find V2. As we know, we are going to, as it is saying constant pressure, we are going to use Charles' law. Charles' law, the formula was V1 upon T1 is equals to V2 upon T2. So if I have to find V2, you can see, I'll just rearrange them. V2 will be equal to V1 into T2 upon T1. We saw V1 was 49 dm cube. T2 was, you can see, it was 400 Kelvin. Temperature 1, T1 was 298 Kelvin. So when you solve, you get this answer. You can check these answers by either using your normal calculations, or if you want to go by log, you can do that. So you can see the volume of oxygen is 65.77 dm cube. Moving to the next question. You can write down that question given and then solve it. Moving to the second question, a very interesting one. A flask has a volume of 0.25 dm cube. What volume of air will be displaced from the flask if it is heated from 300 to 600 Kelvin? You can see, first of all, they have mentioned we have a flask which has a volume of 0.25 dm cube. And they have said they have heated, means there is a change in temperature from 300 to 360 Kelvin. You can see they have not told you to find the volume, new volume. They have said what volume of air will be displaced from the flask. Now, when I say what volume of air will be displaced from the flask, you can see first of all, we have a flask which has a volume of V1. Now, when you heat, when you started heating, you heated from 300 Kelvin to 360. When you heated up, what happened is there was some amount of gas which was present in the flask. And when you heat it, that gas got heated up and it wanted to move out. So when it wanted to move out, it came out from the flask. It got displaced. And this is the air which has come out from the flask. So what's the new volume? That's V2. So if I have to say the volume of air displaced will be what? It will be this much. Means it is V2 minus V1. So first we need to find the new volume, and then we need to find the volume of air displaced. That is V2 minus V1. So as we have the Charles law formula, V1 upon T1 is equals to V2 upon T2. If you rearrange, you can see V2 is equals to V1 into T2 upon T1. We have V1 that is 0.25, T2 is 360, and T1 was 300. So when you solve, you can see 0 gets cancelled, 30 and 36 will go easily. It will be 3 tens are 30, 3 12s are. Then you have 10 upon 0.25, and that is multiplied, you get is 0.3 dm3. And as you know, the initial volume was V1. What we need to do is the volume of air displaced will be V2 minus V1. So you can see 0.3 minus 0.25 will give you the answer. That is how much? 0.05 dm cubes. This is your final answer. You need to read the question. Just don't jump to conclusion that you need to just find V2. We have to find the volume of air displaced. So the next question you can see I have over here. We have what you can see, a certain mass of gas occupies a volume of 0.2 dm cube at 273 Kelvin. Calculate the volume of the gas if the absolute temperature is double at same pressure. You can see because they have mentioned same pressure, we know that it is the Charles law. So how are you going to solve it? I'm just going to tell you the hint. For the first question, you know, they have mentioned that volume is equals to 0.2 dm cube. I can simply say that is V1 at 273 Kelvin, means you have T1 which is equal to 273 Kelvin. Calculate the volume of the gas if the absolute temperature is double. You can see when we talk about absolute temperature, it's 273 Kelvin. So if they say the new temperature is doubled, means T2 is nothing but 2 into 273. Sorry. So 273, you have V1, you have T1. You just need to find what is V2. So I think you'll be able to solve this. This is your homework question. Next question you can see. A flask has a volume of, it has a volume of 0.25 centimeter cube. What will be the volume if the flask is heated from 300 to 450 Kelvin? Now you can see here they have just asked the volume of the flask. That flask might be something made up of a rubber material which can expand. So you don't need to check the volume of the air displaced. You just need to find the new volume. You can see V1 is 0.25. The new temperature, the first temperature is 300 Kelvin. T2 is how much? Is equal to 450 Kelvin. And moving ahead, what we need to find is V2. So I think you'll be able to solve this question. These two are your homework questions from the topic Charles law. Yes. So as we are done with Charles law, in the next lecture, we'll be dealing with two more laws, that is Gay-Lussac's law and Avogadro's law. I hope you have understood this topic. Have a nice day.